What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about why it is absolutely essential that when you are building a new website in Webflow, whether that's going to be yourself as the designer, or you are an entrepreneur, business owner, or marketing director that is hiring a company or freelancer to do this for your company on its behalf, it is absolutely essential that whoever's building this new site in Webflow is using some sort of web development framework that is going to allow your company to end up with a website that, one, gets built much faster, but two, in terms of the design, it's going to be much more visually consistent. And then three, in terms of the long-term management, it's going to be much easier to manage and much more scalable and maintainable. In my experience, the best framework and also the most popular framework in the Webflow community today is going to be the client-first framework. And that's what I've been using myself as a Webflow developer for over a year now. It also integrates perfectly with the Rayloom component library, since that is what it's built with, the client-first framework and naming structure. So as someone who's very familiar with client-first, and I've also happened to use a couple other web development frameworks, both in Webflow and in WordPress, and client-first is definitely the best in the business in my experience so far. And so that's why in today's video, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of everything that's included, and then this way you can see the value, one, if you're a prospective client, but two, if you're also a designer or Webflow developer, you're going to see how this might benefit your builds going forward. So I'm going to share my screen in a short second here, just going over the quick start guide, because this is going to give you a pretty solid overview of what it is and if you can benefit from it at all. But before we get into that, let's take care of the housekeeping real quick. So if you're new here, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent marketing strategist based in Colorado, working primarily with service-based businesses to help them increase the amount of traffic they're getting to their website, generating more leads based on that traffic, and then ultimately taking those leads and then nurturing and converting them into paying clients. If you're interested in branding, web design, or digital marketing, I highly recommend subscribing to my channel because I'm putting out at least one video per week covering one of those topics. And if you're looking for the latest tactics and strategies you can use to grow your company, whether you're a business owner directly or whether you're a marketing director or marketing person on the team, you're not going to want to miss any of the videos I'm putting out. So subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into the video today. All right, so as you can see here, I'm on the client-first website. Also very important to note that it is built by a Webflow agency called FinSuite. They are probably the best Webflow agency in the game at the moment, and they are regularly updating this and keeping updated, and also they're using it in their real-life client projects, so they're actually able to, see what's working and what's not, and then revise as they often do. As you can see, we're already on version 2.1. So they actually offer a quick start guide PDF, which I've gone ahead and downloaded, and I figured the best way to just talk about everything that goes into the client-first system is to go through this and explain the meaning and the purpose and the value provided. As you can see here, the main thing, number one, that you should know is that it provides a class naming structure for the entire website. Now, classes are essentially how you design things in web development. Say, for example, when it comes to text, typically websites will have headings anywhere between H1 to H6 for SEO purposes, but also just for visual hierarchy purposes. And generally, they're different sizes. So H1 is going to be the largest, H6 is going to be the smallest, and it'll vary in between, of course. So with web design, instead of just designing everything one-to-one, you can just apply a class, and then with that class, you can reuse it and then essentially apply styles globally. So you can see here, we have classes. So for example, for text and background colors, there's a class here, which you can then customize as needed. So part of this doc is also just showing you exactly how it works and how you can take the existing class naming structure they've come up with and then customize it for your project. So for example, there's lots of classes here, as you can see here, for specific combinations here. So, utility classes. And then you can also see that it also will show you how to use custom classes as well if you wanted to do that. Now, there are global classes. So this is for things that are going to be used globally, of course, throughout the website. So that could be for like header backgrounds, as you can see here, or hero sections. There's also combo classes it shows you. So for example, you could have one class for your standard button, but then maybe you have multiple different buttons, different color buttons, for example. You can then just have a utility class that's ultimately going to help you add further customizations to the styles that are already from the one class. Then it also provides you with a page structure, so every page has the same structure. Again, a lot of the value that comes out of these frameworks is just the fact that if you have one agency or one freelancer build the website and then I don't know, maybe they go out of business or they just start backpacking India or something and then they're like out of commission, you can have another person come in right away and they'll have all this documentation. This is just a quick start guide. There's several other docs that come with this as well. Yeah, part of the benefit here is that by having your website built in this naming structure of client first, you're automatically getting a documentation and like user manual for the website. So every page has a consistent page structure, and then you can see here every class is broken down, as you can see. So it's very easy to follow. Again, this is just very important for ensuring consistent padding across the website, ensuring consistency in terms of other design elements like type and colors and all that type of stuff. Because while it's not something you might notice right away, it is something that is kind of subliminal to the naked eye, where if things were not evenly spaced throughout the website, you would start to notice that something's up, but we can't exactly tell what's up with it. All right, another great benefit of Client First is that it's built with REM. So this just has better responsive benefits because it's just much more responsive to the size of the display it's being viewed on, much more so than pixels and even much more so than percentages. Also, it's just better for accessibility as well, which is also very important. There's also a lot of control over for typography, as I was talking about earlier. So we have, different font sizes and things of that nature for the different heading styles. We also have different text sizes and colors and weights for just the regular body fonts that you're using. Again, this just makes it super easy to just clamp on more classes as you go along, and then ultimately from that design and build websites. There's also a component for spacing as well. So this is very big here, of course, as you can see here, just to ensure that all the padding and spacing is correct. Another benefit of these utility systems is the fact that, say, for example, one day you wanted to change this padding medium value, you can just update it once and it will update globally throughout the website. I wish I had this back in the agency I was working at like 5 years ago at this point, because this was when we were reliant on WordPress themes to build websites, and there were often times where we needed to make updates and we needed to go through like page by page, and it took hours to make website updates like this. But in today's day and age with modern tools like Client First, that is no longer the case. You can see here there's like more documentation in terms of how to use spacing. You can also use spacing div blocks as well to space things out as well, as you can see here. There's also folders as well for all this stuff that's much more easily organized in the Webflow backends. I don't really use this too much in my builds usually. And then you can see here more utility systems as well. So for combo classes, for just adding on extra things. And then also it talks about how to use global styles and all about that type of stuff. So yeah, and as you can see here, it literally even shows you how to sell it to your clients. So again, like I touched on, maintenance, this is just going to make it way easier to maintain and manage your website for years to come. Scalability, very easy. Like I said, if one day you need to change the colors used on your website, you can do that in a matter of clicks and then it's updated globally. Accessibility, things like REM, much better for accessibility for people who are visually impaired. Again, just the fact that it's so ubiquitous in the Webflow community means that in the future, if you need to bring on other developers to your team or just find a new agency or partner, then it's just going to be much more easier to find someone who is able to hit the ground running with this. All right, guys, so that is a look at the Client First Webflow development framework. I've been using it for over a year. Like I said, originally I was using one called System Flow, but it just was not as full featured. So that is why I ultimately came to Client First and why I'm now using it on every single website build I do, because one, it's got everything you could possibly need from a development perspective already figured out. And then two, it's just so widely used in the community that it just makes it so easy to hop into other projects. And then finally, it is being regularly developed. And also, it's free. It's kind of a no-brainer to be using, quite frankly. My final words here are going to be that if you're an agency looking to partner with other Webflow developers, or you're a company that's looking to hire a Webflow agency or freelancer to build a new site, I would highly recommend asking them, hey, what framework are you using to build this website with? Because if they're not using a framework, one, it's just going to be much longer to build a website with. They're really going to have to do a lot of this foundational work from scratch, which is just not necessary. If they're using a different framework, that's totally fine. People have different preferences, but just make sure they're using some sort of framework. I will say it's going to make it much more easier for them to build a website, much more faster, much more efficient. There's really no downsides at all. I will tell you, 5 years ago, I don't really think there were these frameworks in the Webflow or even WordPress community, and it took so much longer to build these websites by hand, naming every class time by time. But now it's just way faster to be building these sites online because of tools like this. And honestly, it's a great way to vet the prospective Webflow developers you're talking with to see if they actually have the development chops to handle your project. Speaking of which, you've already made it this far in the video. If you would like to get my opinion on your company's current website, whether you're looking just to make some subtle optimizations to it or you're considering an entire new build, then definitely feel free to book a strategy call with me. Link in the description. We're going to talk a lot more than just your website. We're going to talk about your broader marketing and sales strategy so that I can provide you with custom tailored advice in terms of how to develop a website and ongoing digital marketing strategy that is going to help your company achieve its marketing and sales goals. So link in the description if you want to learn a little bit more about that strategy call offer. It's a very casual, no obligation conversation. If we're a good fit to work together, we can talk about what that would look like. If we're not a good fit to work together though, I will happily try and connect you with someone in my network who is better suited to serve you. So again, link in the description if you want to learn more about that. In the meantime though, definitely subscribe to my channel if you found this content interesting because like I said, I'm putting out at least one video per week and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.